Patreon is in trouble to me. Like, they've been really bad for a long time.
Yeah.
All right. Patreon is equivalent to ClickFunnels. I know, everybody might not understand ClickFunnels in their back end, but just from my background, I understood very early on that what they had was simplistic, right? But when I as far as the makeup of the software, how it worked, and it just, I don't want to say poorly built because I'm not the best programmer in the world, but I had enough experience. I'm like, hey, bro, this ain't top notch.
Yeah.
Right now, that was cool when I first got on, but then the lack of improvement became my issue.
They got comfortable.
Right? Every single thing that you see on every platform you join, you see these improvements. And sometimes you'll be mad. Dang, Facebook done switch it up again. I don't even know where to find my ads anymore. Dang, YouTube done switch it up again. Where is this? Where is that? But that's a part of a great ran software company, right? Mm-hmm. So when you don't see that, it's actually a problem. And with ClickFunnels, I was like, there must be something about how they built it that's preventing them from doing that, because it just doesn't make sense how much money they're making, right? And then you find out they're coming up with ClickFunnels 2.0, and it's a completely different platform you got to sign up for, which means, the way we built this thing, we can't really improve it because it was built on a poor foundation. They probably had some coders who hacked it together. That's the problem with tech, right? Those decisions you make early on really do impact things later down the road, right? So it's like, dang, you built yourself a prison in a sense, right?
Yeah.
You have low flexibility to truly improve the platform. So it's like, all right, we got to start over. Now, when you look at Patreon, I haven't used it enough to say that's their issue, that they must have built it on some type of poor infrastructure that keeps it from improving. But boy, the experience was really bad when I used it. Yeah. And I didn't use it until maybe 2020 or 2021. And Patreon had been around and popping for a good minute.
Yeah, they've been around for a minute.
A good minute. They were number one in that space as far as I knew. Now, the problem was this should not be this simple for where they are in the marketplace. This is just a bad experience. I couldn't, the whole community engagement feature inside didn't really make sense. It really didn't feel like I could truly engage with the community. The consumption part didn't really make sense how I navigated that. You get a better consumption in course programs. It's like I could have just created a course and then made people pay for a subscription to my course and then drop my content in there versus being inside the Patreon. None of it made sense. So they have the brand equity out there in the marketplace, but there's something that's been preventing them from actually having a great experience. For instance, right? I know a lot of people, their Patreon would be it would have whatever they're offering, their content or merch or whatever. But then the community aspect, you would also get access to their private community, but it will be a private Discord.
Yeah, they're pushing them off the platform.
That alone says y'all are doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Right? Because that should be a part of your experience. I could understand that not being in V1, but by the time I had got on the platform and the amount of money they made, that not being there, said something was wrong to me, right? So, I don't know how many people are using Patreon now. I know it's still a lot, but I think there's going to be way, way, way better solutions. There's already way better solutions in the marketplace to me, right? But I think they're going to suffer a lot more. So if y'all want to have your own private community, don't get caught up in the idea of Patreon just because that's the brand name that's out there. There's way better communities out there. The problem that then occurs though, which is why I think TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, those will be the platforms that still figure out the way. Because the problem with having a private community is your community has to actually want to go to this different platform.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. And that's why people have been selling this dream of a private community and paid community experience for all these years. And it hasn't really taken over because it takes a lot of work, right, to manage all that, but even greater, to change people's behavior where they actually go to that thing. Mm-hmm. And think about, there's a lot of people who are like, I don't want to get on TikTok. They still don't want to get on TikTok because it's another thing.
Yeah.
All right. So why am I going to leave this thing and the only benefit on that thing is you? That's it.
Yeah.
Like, that's a hard sell. And I'm going to pay for it monthly when I'm trying to figure out how to finesse and get out of my HBO.
My Netflix account.
Yeah, my Netflix account. Oh, I only bought this because the season of such and such came out, and then I'm going to cancel it after that. Like, that's a very, very hard sell and expectation to keep people, like, in that loop and giving them that type of value. Yeah. So you're better off, if you do it right, building up the equity with your audience, and then having sales that are able to capture that value and more, because I did a limited merch drop, or I did a limited product drop, or I did a limited pop-up, or doing things like, especially for an artist, because it's really hard to just maintain the value of month over month over month, unless you just got people supporting the hell out of you, and you build a culture where they understand why you're not just trying to update it and spending all this time. Because the problem that then becomes, if I'm spending all this time updating inside of the community, then I'm not spending enough energy outside of the community growing my fan base.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the economics are really, really hard to work out.
Yeah, that's why live streaming is taking over, because you get all of that in the easier to produce package, right? Like, I don't have to think about my month over month content because I'm just showing up, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Every day or every week. Yep. The community's already been primed for it, right? Like, they've had the last 5-6 years of Twitch and all these other platforms, like, building them up for it. And then, like, the best live streamers, like, when you're in their live stream, it feels like you're in the community, you know what I'm saying? Like, you feel the energy of the community. So it's like, it ticks all three of those boxes. And they're a lot cooler than Patreon. You know what I'm saying? Like, Patreon kind of never really got a grasp of, like, the cool factor.
I mean, what is it?
The cool factor or Patreon?
What the fuck is Patreon?
That's a good question.
Like, outside of a transactional space, that's the problem. Y'all sold the dream of community, but there is no community features, no legitimate community building and curation that can truly happen. It's a space that you can transact with your fans and get them in this space and give them disproportionate value in the wrong direction.
And what's actually, that's a great point, because the disproportionate value is what fans want. They just want to be able to show it, and you don't really get to show it like that in Patreon, right? Like, versus like live streams, like I said with the TikTok thing, if one of my followers uses a certain emote, you immediately know as a follower, like, he bought some shit, right? He upgraded. Mm-hmm. Most of the features and things you tend to get in Patreon are stuff that like is exclusive, or you just got it, right? But like, you're not really able to like flex it to the rest of the fan base the same way you can on like a Discord or a Twitch, or really any of the platforms that have some type of like live stream emotes, like these icons and things. And so I think that's one of the big elements that Patreon missed out on. And you're right, they should have been in the forefront of that, because they had the users and the brand equity to do it first. But then Twitch came along and Discord came along, and now the entire culture of how fans view a community experience is much different than what Patreon probably thought when they trying to build a fan community experience, right? Like, the user behavior around it is much different than what they saw. And it's going to continue to evolve and get different, because now all the newer fans are being built around live streams and, you know what I'm saying, and donations and emotes and shit like that. Shit that Patreon wasn't able to get ahead of.
Not at all.
You know what I'm saying? So
not at all. And look, man, it's like they pursued a void in the marketplace from a branding message. And we witness this all the time, where it's the same shit, different audience. Yeah. Right? That's media, that's marketing in so many ways. You see artists do this and introduce a new audience. The problem is when you're a platform that's building your business off of it, you're just saying, hey, I'm going to give you a private Shopify, right? Or something like that. Or I'm going to give you, it's just a regular website or any type of purchase experience that you already see across the web, except they branded it. This is for creators. Yeah. Right. We're going to call it Patreon. We're going to tell your fans that they're supporting you by being in here. All of that is just brilliant marketing messaging that took advantage of something that was a true issue in the community, but they actually didn't provide different tools. Maybe there's something small that they did provide that I'm missing, right? Or maybe at the beginning, maybe they were a little ahead on something, but from everything I know, it wasn't really significant. It was just a great branding campaign. And first. And hey, that's good enough sometimes for y'all. Yeah. Just to be real, like if you are the founder of Patreon, shit, you good.
Yeah.
you made a lot of great money. Yeah, you might have lost in the long run. Hey, businesses die every day. 70% of the Fortune 500 companies that were here on the NASDAQ out here, like in the last 100 years, are gone. And the, what is the original one? Like they're gone. Like all these enterprise companies that have done massive things and then disappeared. It happens all the time. Circuit City was around when I was younger, right? This place called Fry's Electronics. I don't know if you ever been there.
Nah.
Bruh, there were two in Duluth Alpharetta, but they were like from the West Coast, California. And I went there one time, a few times. So I could sense like, yo, there's something different about the store. I could tell like back in the day, it was lit. I could tell, right? And if you look it up, bruh, I'm gonna show you real quick, man. Like this is amazing what they have going on. I ain't supposed to see that. That's just our topic list for today, bro. I'm just gonna show pictures. Fry's Electronics. Y'all gotta see this on the store because we should have a deeper conversation. Do we have time for that? Yeah, we might skirt a couple topics because this is a deeper conversation. So. You see this store?
Oh, yeah, I have seen it. Okay. I've never been, but I've seen like the logos and stuff before.
That one looked like a spaceship. Oh, yeah, because they went crazy with the ads, man. This one, all right. So they had crazy production value for all their stores. And it was a great marketing and branding thing. Like, they look different. There was one, let me see, space. They had one that looked like Alice in Wonderland all through the inside. So they had really cool installations, essentially. Everything was a high production like feel to it, but it was still like Best Buy basically, right? So that experience, especially if you think about coming up as a kid, like, oh man, I want to go there. Y'all got everything, like all the cool electronics, all the exhibitions and demonstrations. You can actually play, you know how you play video games in a store while your mom's shopping and stuff like that. So he's like, I like this store better than the other stores where I just got to stay on her neck the whole way through. And you got the cool makeup. Like people would literally drive hours away just to like be able to take pictures at that store.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, cause they were built different, right? They didn't all look the same, right? So the point for that, like where I feel like the deeper conversation is something that should come back, which is I don't say it should come back. I wish it could come back, but I doubt it, which is retail experiences. So retail experiences, obviously, the money's not there anymore, right? It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But the value that got lost was because there was so much money in it before, people were investing in it. It's the same thing we've experienced in music, right? How music video money ain't nowhere near what it used to be. We're not putting in $1 million in a video. We trying to figure out how we can do it for 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 is like, this is the best in class for a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
But because of where it was back then, it made sense to create experiences in the store. I used to go to this place. Did you ever go to Just for Feet?
What's it called?
Just for Feet.
Nah.
Yeah, it was a sneaker store, bro. Like Athlete's Foot, Foot Locker, you want to think about all them. So they were better. They were standalone. They had a basketball court in all of them. And I used to be balling, bro. I remember me and my sister were balling on it one time, and then this guy paid us $100 just so we could get off the court. So, because he was like about to run up a bet and play for a game, and then you'll get free popcorn, and then sometimes they have free hot dogs, and they had some of the best free popcorn. This is just all day, every day. This is just how it ran, right?
Oh, damn.
That type of stuff was like an old retail experiences, bro. Like they would have things like that. So that stuff is gone. Like, dang, I feel sorry for my kids, man. These boring. That's not the same as just ordering something off of Amazon or whatever. Yeah. But like the level of experience that those old stores had is really a great case study for how you can do it for yourself as an artist, right? So again, the more money you make, the easier it gets to start saying, how can I invest in this way? But you could think Travis Scott is a perfect case study of basically doing what many old stores would do. Like, how can I make every single touch point feel like something special? Right? There's a store called FAO Schwartz. It was based up north, but like it was a toy store. And I don't know if you ever seen on the news, but that was like the first store, and then it was big, where like they'll have like that piano on the ground and kids could like jump on the piano and play. Like that was like one of the first stores that really exhibited like that on a known level with media. All right, so they had all these cool things that you can go into, and it was like an experience. I think I'm gonna have a video about this at some point. Amazon's gonna need to do something like this because they have enough money to at least have like staple stores.
Yeah, Amazon be crazy.
That are cool as fuck.
They could do it. Yeah.
Right? Like, they have some Amazon retail stores, but they need to have like, yo, this is where all the top technology. It's a really, really cool experience to be in this store, and it might be like 3 in the nation, right? You know, it's a tourist attraction, a thing to go to. But all of those, if you like really research how stores built things out and like everything's placed so you can purchase, you know, oh, I'm going to put the milk at the back. So you got to,
walk past
everything.
Yeah.
I'm going to put all these things in certain places. I'm going to make it experience so you don't mind being here for hours. Like Fry's, they put a coffee shop in the middle, like, or a bistro, a legit restaurant bistro in the middle. So people could be cool spending a whole bunch of time in there. Because for cheaper cost, it would be farther out from the main city because you getting all this production anyway. So it was like, dang, that would be even more expensive in the city.
Yeah.
People got to drive farther. So we're going to make it as much of an experience as possible. So you are drawn to come out here. We have good deals.
You can justify the drive.
And we're going to make you staying there. Not just the experience of what you see, but you can eat too. Cause we know what eating does, especially you talk about families who make those trips. Boy, whew, it gets real annoying. So like, bro, it's something that got lost. I don't know how we're going to bring it back, but I feel like creatives from artists or general creatives are going to be a huge part of bringing this back. And the people who think indies experience, not just a random pop-up, because that got like done over and over again in the exact same way. Mm-hmm. Right? It's like, oh yeah, it's a thing. It's like the marketers, right? It's like, oh, this cool experience type thing. And then you just exploit it and really don't add much different to it. Mm-hmm. That always becomes a problem. But people who figure out how to create pop-ups and experience and events and things like that really feel like something like special for their audiences, they're going to be the ones that win, because we keep talking about the Patreons, the TikTok subscriptions and all that stuff. But how can you take that offline? Yeah. How can I make you feel special offline? What's your badge in real life? Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Because there's still this differentiation that people have between the real world and the digital world, or the physical world and the digital world. It doesn't mean that the value isn't going to increase in the digital world. People are definitely going to get more and more comfortable with paying money online, being in rooms, having community, creating real friends. I mean, we know people getting married that meet online these days. All that stuff is going to continue to trend up. But that void in the real world has not been paid attention to. And we know, bro, like we'll meet somebody online and be talking to them and know them for years. And then we make that trip to LA or we make that trip to New York, and then we meet them in real life for the first time. And now I feel like we know them for real. Yeah, exactly. Well, you exist now. It's still a difference, bro. It's still a difference. Like it really means something. So I don't want artists to leave out that real life experience, because it's nothing like it, man. Yeah. There's nothing like it. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. The store thing feels like very strong wishful thinking. Oh no, I 100% think it's wishful thinking from a standpoint of general retail, because it just doesn't make sense. The money's not there. Yeah. But if you are Amazon, 1000%. Yeah. There's brand equity into it. So I wanted to make this video like 2 years ago, and if I had the catalog around me, see, this is gonna go off on normal music stuff, but this is some marketing and branding stuff, so I still think it's all valuable. So did you ever look through the Toys R Us catalog when you were little? Yeah, 100%. That shit was amazing, right? It was great. Yeah, that right. Knew I wasn't getting none of it, but it was great. Knew I wasn't getting none of that shit, dog. But still, the imagination, just to imagine. So I'm gonna get to where I'm going with it in a second, but this is a part of value, and why where I'm going with it is so valuable, because now I give them to my daughter. They don't have Toys R Us. You know that Toys R Us is gone.
I was just about to ask, like, okay.
No, they going. Amazon bought them out. They finessed the mess out of them throughout like the 15 years. But so I give her Target. There's a Target catalog, and now Amazon has a catalog, right?
Okay.
And I've been saying Amazon should do this. I first thought about it back when my sister used to work at Amazon, and the value of it. One, Jeff Bezos understands the value outside of all that, hardcore logistical, numbers, all that stuff. He understood that the value of a company, of a great company, the symbol of it, one of them is like to be liked, right?
Yeah.
That's partially why they put like the happy face in the Amazon logo. They kind of just wanted to be like, give a good feeling. Didn't really work, right? But I was like, well, one thing you can do, all right, is get to the kids, because people don't really, the adults are the adults, man. That's why a lot of people be like, man, forget about the adults. I'm going to inspire the kids because adults already got their baggage, right?
Yeah.
How do you do that? The catalog experience is a great one, right? And the beauty, and especially the sales aspect of catalog, is you actually extend the lifespan of how much you can enjoy something, especially for kids. So, bro, when you have kids, you'll see how fast they can be done with something.
Yeah.
They'll play with something. First, they'll start like playing with some stuff too long. And like, dang, bro, we ain't gonna get a new toy or like get something else. But then it's like they'll play with something and they'll be done with it after a couple weeks. They wanted it so much.
Yeah.
But now, if I got a month and a half beforehand to just imagine it, you're enjoying it in my head, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's a real thing. Because all those toys that I never got, I still enjoyed them. I imagine myself playing with them. These kids these days are actually watching other kids play with toys on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's no different than us watching somebody play a video game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It sounds weird, but then you think back when them times where, hey, bruh, nigga only had 2 remotes. There was 6 dudes in the room. We got to watch it. It's the same thing. But now that's just translated to a monetized model, right? So you extend, it's like, oh, bro, if I give her this catalog, she in her mind got like 20 toys. She gets that experience. I got her 1 toy, and she experienced them for a month and a half versus just those couple of weeks before she even get it, right? So that's the game. But the positive experience of having that with that brand grows over time. Like, you immediately, when I said Toys R Us catalog, you like, hey man, never knew you weren't gonna get it, but you still went through it.
Yeah,
why? Because it was that experience, that ability to imagine, right? So there's one. Then you have kids grow up and they have this positive, association with the brand. Other thing, like I said, many people can't do this because of the amount of money that doesn't come from retail. If you have these flagship locations that give people an amazing experience, this is Amazon's Disney World in a store, whatever that looks like, some real cutting edge tech stuff, some of the best things on Amazon, or I don't know, like what would be exactly in the store, but a combination of like the FAO Schwartz toy store and some maybe a more adult version, so it's maybe more tech driven or whatever, or maybe it has sections so people literally go on tourist adventures to these stores. You don't have to have many of them across the nation, but it's well known, so you get this brand recognition. Stories get created about it again and again. Every single year, things get featured on it. So bam, you get all the marketing clout from it. 2, most importantly, you get another positive brand experience that you just don't get. Like, convenience is great. That's the most you get from Amazon, just convenience. Mm-hmm. All right. But hey, we know we disrespect convenience. That's why they say, hey man, sometimes that person with you in a relationship, they get a little, they get the short end of the stick sometimes because you get so used to them. Things are so easy, accessible. Got to work a little harder to do some of them other things that you're doing out there, right? And you get that. Better or worse, we know it to be true in many situations. So convenience is great. We really appreciate it. You're going to get our behavior. You're just not going to get our heart. So create these positive experiences. Once you have these positive experiences, you also can cap in ways that other people can't, so, which makes it even more beneficial for you, because I can see Amazon figuring out a way to not just have the cool brand experience there, but also figure out how to use that extra space for logistical reasons as well. Like, you know, they got the Whole Foods. I don't know if you know they bought Whole Foods. Yeah. So, and then that's why you have those Amazon drop boxes in the front.
Yeah.
And boy, is it so easy to return stuff from Amazon. It's ridiculous.
Great.
Like it's crazy.
Give me a cookie on my way out.
Bruh. Exactly. So they can figure out how to monetize on top of that in ways other people can't. But I'm telling you, man, like, and this is why it goes back to artists though as well. Like the value of positive brand experiences and figuring out where you can sit them within your infrastructure in a way that allows you to monetize is great, but at least break even, then monetize off of the brand equity is like, it's hard to put a number on that. You know what I mean? Unless it's within your business structure, you got to put some kind of number on it. But like the beauty of it is you don't have to have it frequently or everywhere. In the same way Amazon would not have to have stores across the nation in the old school style. They could have one in New York, one in LA, or, you know, or some random place if they want to or whatever, and just make it a thing and still get all the clout from it. Same way you can do that. An artist, you can have something once a year. All right. Or, I mean, we can go deeper into ideas on that later, but that's something that needs to be taken advantage of. I'm telling you, bro.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you watching. Fun fact, every time you soak up one of these gems, you get a little bit smarter from these clips. So if you want to be a gem seeker, collect all the gems, keep watching. I'll see you in the next clip.